Yes.
Right. So next Friday, there's the normal thing. Are you doing it? I think it's Michael Kerrins who's doing it next Friday, and the normal for the storytelling round. But next Sunday, a week today at 10 o'clock in the morning. And Kenza, I want you to listen to this. Very important. Very important, Kenza. We're doing a hybrid. We're doing a hybrid from the festival because it's our storytelling festival. And so we're online, and some of the other storytellers between 10:30 and 11 o'clock are some of the other youngsters from all over the world. So we've got some youngsters coming
Mike,
in.
you're speaking with an echo.
No, it's somebody else that's speaking.
Online, and some of the other storytellers between 10:30 and 11 o'clock. No, that's me speaking. The youngsters from all over the world. There's a delay somewhere.
Mike, you're speaking with an echo.
There's a bit of an echo.
Ah.
Right. Can you hear me, or is it difficult to hear me?
I can hear you, understand you.
Right. If you turn your sound off, Baba, is it just coming through yours? So mute your sound.
No, I turned my sound off.
It's on, that's it. Right. Can everybody else hear me now?
Yeah.
Right. So I think it's something to do with yours, Baba. So I would suggest you log off and log back on again. Okay. Hello, Baba, can you hear me?
I think
He's frozen.
Dear.
No, he hasn't.
No, there you go.
Right, but Baba, put your hand up if you can hear me. Right. I think there's a problem with yours. So I think the best thing you can do is log off and log back on again.
Yeah, it's muted now and there's a delay.
Yeah, there's a delay of some kind. Yeah.
And he's
right.
He's muted.
Right.
Are we going back to the old days?
Right.
I will endeavor to log back in.
It's muted now and there's a delay.
Yeah, okay. I think that's the best thing to do. There's a problem with yours. Right. Okay, so going back to Kenza. Kenza, on Sunday, UK time, we're having a hybrid with our festival here in Shropshire called Get a Word in Edgeways. And between 10:30 and 11 o'clock UK time, the kids are coming in from all over the world. That is the plan. Right? Kids, I mean, under, 50. But there are some, and David Heathfield is working very hard at getting some youngsters to come in from the Gaza Strip.
Okay.
So you'd be very welcome to come and join us for that. And I'll tell this, if Despina turns up, or you want to leave me your email address or a contact number, I'll get the lady who's organising it to email you directly. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. Right. Right. All right. So who's going to start then? So Keith, would you care to go first? Right. So we go Keith first. Kenza, are you going to tell a story tonight?
So yeah. I have a short story to tell.
Right. So you go, Keith will go first, you will go second. Okay?
Perfect. Okay.
Kenza second. Rona, you'll be 3. And Norman, you're 4. And I'll go 5. And Baba, with a bit of luck, should come in after me. Right, okay, so we'll go over to Keith. So as normal, if you'll mute yourselves while the teller's been on, and we'll get started straight away. Over to you, Keith, in Lincolnshire, in England.
Yes, yeah, I only have one language, and that's Lincolnshire. Now then, mate, are you all right? Hey, I'm all right, mate. Hey. Anyway, I went down to, well, you can see behind me, I went into my garden this morning, and there's this awful squabbling among the birds. They were squabbling among them, others were screeching and making such a noise, arguing among themselves. I'm the king of the birds. 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 Well, what were they to do? Because they're all claiming to be the king of birds. And so Blackbird, he said, well, I have an idea, and it went to find Owl. And Owl came and poked his head out of his hole inside the tree and then came down and joined the birds. And Owl said, well, the best thing to do is have a competition that the bird that can fly the highest will be the king of the birds. And they all agreed. And so then the little robin, he started to flap his wings and fly, didn't fly very high, just, you know, just a little above maybe the flowers. And then there's a blackbird, he flew a bit high, and the song thrush singing away, flew a bit higher. And there was even the cockerel was there, flapping and flapping and flapping and flapping away, and rested on the top of the barn roof. Oh, and then there was the skylark singing away and even going up higher. And each of them claiming to be king of the birds. But then way up on the thermals was the golden eagle. I am the king of the birds. Oh, no, you're not. I know you're not. I know you're not. The little voice just above him was the voice of the wren. How do you get up here, said the eagle. I stowed away under your left wing, and I'm now flying just higher than you. Oh, and the eagle tried to use his claws to grab at the little wren, but missed. And so the eagle then floated down, came down to the birds in the garden, followed by the wren flapping and flapping very quickly down there. And the wren said, well, I flew the highest, and so I'm king of the birds. The eagle said, he's a cheat. A cheat, a cheat, a cheat, a cheat, a cheat, they all said. And so they decided that they would drown the wren. And Blackbird went off to just a little, down beside the garden, there was, found an old cup and brought it out. And the cup was held by the owl. And then the blackbird came and wept blackbird tears into the cup. Plop, plop, plop. Then the thrush came down and wept thrush tears into the cup. Plop, plop. And then the crow came as well. The crow was there, and it came and he wept crow tears into the cup. And so one after another, all the birds came and wept tears into the cup, ready to drown the wren in all the tears in the cup. Now, as I said, the owl was holding the cup very carefully with his claw, but he slipped. And he spilt the tears all over the lawn. And all the birds gathered around and said, you clumsy oaf, you've spilt our tears all over the lawn. And they gave chase to the owl, who flew away as fast as he could. Now, you'll know that if you go across the Lincolnshire Wolds and Lincolnshire Fens, you will see maybe an owl, but only at twilight, because that's when he does his hunting after shrews and mice, when it's getting dark, because he's afraid of the other birds that might attack him. And you'll see in the hedgerows, just bobbing about in the leaves and the branches, you will see the little wren, who is king of the birds.
That was very nice, Keith. Thank you very much. Yeah,
It originates from Wales, actually. But anyway,
I know. I haven't heard that one for an awful long time. But it's one of the Welshie lot. They tell to their children a lot at night. And they sing a lullaby called Corium as well. It's good. Corium, Corium. That's a really nice lullaby that they sing as well. So Kenza, we're going to ask you, if you would please, to tell us a small little story. Your words, not mine. And we're all looking forward to it.
Okay. So today I have three stories and I want to tell us. So the title is The Lion and the Mouse. So in a lush and lively forest, a mighty lion was sleeping under the shade of a majestic tree. He was the king of the jungle, feared and respected by all. While he was resting, a small mouse, unaware of the danger, ran across him. The lion woke up abruptly, capturing the mouse with one of his powerful paws. The mouse, trembling with fear, pleaded, "Please spare me, great king. One day I might repay your kindness." The lion, amused by the idea that such a tiny creature could ever help him, burst out laughing. However, he decided to let the mouse go, thinking it wasn't worth wasting energy on a small, much prey. Day passed, and one morning the lion fell into a trap set by hunters, trapping in a strong net. He roared with all his might, but he couldn't break free. His roar choked the forest, and the little mouse recognized the sound, ran to his rescue. When the mouse saw the lion trapped, he didn't hesitate. With his sharp little teeth, he began to gnaw at the net. Treat by treat, finally, he managed to make a hole big enough for the lion to escape. The lion, astonished and grateful, said, "You saved my life. I never imagined that one day I would have to thank someone like you." The mouse smiled and replied, "Even the smallest can be of great help." The moral is, never underestimate anyone, regardless of size or appearance. Even the smallest can make a big difference. My second story is about the butterfly and the caterpillar. So, once upon a time, in a large garden, there was a little caterpillar, slowly crawling among the leaves. He admired the butterflies that flew freely in the sky, with their colorful wings shining in the sunlight. The caterpillar longed to fly like them, but he knew he was just a caterpillar, bound to the earth and slow progress. One day, as the caterpillar rested on a leaf, and a old and wise butterfly landed beside him. "Why are you so sad, little caterpillar?" asked the butterfly. So he replied, "I wish I could fly like you. You see the world from above and feel the wind under my wings. But I'm just a caterpillar destined to grow on the ground." Then the butterfly smiled and said, "I was like you once. I crawled among the leaves, dreaming of flying. But one day, I realized that my destiny was such much greater than I had imagined. I built a cocoon and fell asleep, letting time take its course. When I wake up, I was changed." The caterpillar listened and said, "Changed? How?" he asked. "Transformation is a part of life, dear caterpillar," the butterfly explained. "Do not fear the unknown. When the time is right, you will build your own cocoon and fall asleep. Upon waking, you will be a beautiful butterfly, and you will fly free as you have always dreamed." The caterpillar pondered the butterfly words, and as time passed, he felt that the time had come. Following the butterfly advice, he built a cocoon and wrapped himself inside. He slept for many weeks, and during that sleep, something magical happened. When the caterpillar woke up, he felt something different. Slowly, he broke the cocoon, and to his surprise and joy, he discovered he had wings. They were large, colorful, and shine in the sunlight. Now, the caterpillar is transformed into a beautiful butterfly, flew high into the sky, finally feeling the freedom he had always desired. The moral of this story is that transformation is a natural part of life. Do not fear change, for it often leads to sometimes wonderful and unexpected. And
Well, Kenza, I'd like to say one of the most difficult things to do is to tell a story in a different language that is not your mother language. And the main thing you have to do is to get your diction right, so each word is understandable before the next one and after the one before. And your diction was 10 out of 10. It was
Thanks.
absolutely as clear as anything. And to do something, I just like to say this. Well done.
Thank you.
Absolutely well done.
I appreciate.
What
Thank
Mike
you.
said.
And I'm going to tell you this. Hopefully you'll like this, right? There was a ship's captain. And one day he walked into a pub, which is what we have in this country. And he looked at the barmaid and he fell in love, and she fell in love with him, and they got married. And through the natural sort of things that happened next, just before he went to sea, she told him she was going to have a little baby. So he went and bought a house. But at the back of the house, he needed a fence. So he went to the fencing people and said, I'm going away on my ship and I'll be gone for a long time. I want you to build a fence around the back of my house for 50 meters. How much would that cost? And they said, for 50 meters, it's at €1 per meter. So that would be 50 euros altogether. And he said, right, come and do it, and my wife will pay you. So they came along and they made the fence around the back, and it was 50 meters. And they came along and they asked for the money. And they said to the young wife, the young pregnant wife, you need to pay us 100 euros. And they said, I thought the bill was for 50 euros. And they said, oh, yeah, but it's 50 euros for one side and it's 50 euros for the other side. So that's 100 euros. And she said, oh, okay, then, well, hang on, come back tomorrow morning and I'll pay you. I haven't got that much money with me. So she went to the bank and she came back, and they came back at 9 o'clock in the morning, and she gave them a 50 euro note. And she laid it on the table. And they said, no, we've explained this to you, that it's 50 euros for one side and 50 euros for the other side. And she said, yes, turn the 50 euro note over. And that's what she did. So you're 50 euros for one side, and on the other side is the 50 euros for the other side of the fence. And when she came back, she'd had a little girl, and she said to the husband what had happened, and he laughed and he laughed, and he went and bought her some flowers, and he went down the pub and he told everybody in the pub what she'd done. And somebody told somebody, and somebody told somebody, somebody told me. Now I've just told you. Okay.
Wow, yeah.
So hopefully find a place to use that story. It's a gift to you. Okay, absolutely. Right.
Thanks.
All right. So we have Rona next, then Norman, then me, then Baba, then Keith. That's going to be the order today. Okay. So Rona,
Okay.
you're next. Go on, Keith.
Yeah, I just want to interject for this is a riddle for Rona, and it's a very short and simple one, and I'll give the answer later on if you haven't got it. How many sides does an egg have?
How many sides does an egg have? It has two. It has the inside and the outside.
Exactly.
Exactly. Yes.
Shall I go on?
I was muted. I never heard the word. How many sides does what have?
An egg.
Egg.
An egg. Oh, yeah.
Right. So how many countries can you see from the Isle of Man? Well, the Isle of Man is the island between England and Ireland in the Irish Sea. You can see seven kingdoms from the Isle of Man. You can see Ireland, you can see Scotland, you can see Wales, and you can see you can see the Isle of Man itself, and you can see the Kingdom of Neptune and the Kingdom of Heaven. Okay.
New kingdoms. Yeah. I like that.
Yeah, 7 kingdoms. Yeah. Right, Rona.
Thanks, Mike. I would like to echo, Kenza, what Mike said. I think your diction and everything else when you told that story in English was fantastic. Well done.
Thank you.
I'd like to tell you a story about a man. Just before I do, Mike, I might forget to ask you later. Did you know that Michael Cairns was my wee brother? No. You shocked? So,
No, I didn't know Michael was your wee brother.
yeah.
No, okay. All right.
So, I'm going to tell you a story about a man, not my wee brother, another man. It was Friday night, and we're going back a long time ago, a couple of 100 years ago, when this man, on a Friday night, would leave his home and his wife and his 2 young children, and he would go off to seek his fortune. He did this religiously every week, because when he was a young man, his father told him, whatever else happens to you, just don't forget to seek your fortune. And he would leave on that Friday night and he would go on his travels asking people went all over the country, I wonder if you can tell me where I might find my fortune. Now, some people felt sorry for him and some people thought, he's a bit crazy, this guy. And other people used to get annoyed at him, especially if he'd asked them several times before, which sometimes he had. And he would, never give up. He just kept going. And he would sleep under the hedgerows on that Friday night. And he would do the same thing on a Saturday. He would travel for miles. He would go into different counties. And he would be asking all these different people, can you tell me where I might find my fortune? And on this particular occasion, he asked an old woman who was in her garden. And she turned on him and she said, you got the tenacity to come and ask me where you might find your fortune. I've just buried my husband 3 days ago, and I'm now having to do this work in the garden, which I'm not really fit to be able to do. If I knew where you would find your fortune, surely I would know where I would find mine. Now be off with you, you fool. Oh, he was quite put out by this. And he was really sorry that he had disturbed the woman because she had just lost her husband, and it kind of threw him off kilter a little bit. But he carried on. And he got to the marketplace in one of the towns, and again asking all these people, oh goodness me, here he is again asking me if I know where he'll find his fortune. But when he got to the end of that marketplace, there was somebody different there. She had never been there before. She was a storyteller. And as he walked towards her, she looked at him and she said, hello, I've been expecting you. You've been expecting me? What do you mean you've been expecting me? I don't know you. She says, yes, but I know you. Really? Yes, I know what you're going to ask me. Excuse me. I know what you're going to ask me. You're going to ask me where you'll find your fortune. And he's completely thrown by this. I said, that's right. I was going to ask you that. She says, well, I can tell you where you're going to find your fortune. You can tell me. Yeah, I know. Oh, wow. Oh, that's incredible. Where am I going to find my fortune? She says, it's back home in your village. And he was like, no, no, no. Oh, no, 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 that's not true. He says, I've taken that village apart. I've turned over every grass leaf. I've dug up round the trees. There's no way it's in my village. She said, yes, it is. Well, he was really put out now. He was annoyed. Somebody has told her, he thought to himself, somebody's told her that I'm looking for my fortune, and this is her making a fool of me now. He was not happy. In fact, he was so discombobulated that he decided to go back home early. So it was only Sunday morning when he got back home, not Sunday evening, which would be the norm. And when he got to his little house and he opened his front door, and his little 3-year-old Daddy, his little 3-year-old daughter came running at him. Daddy, Daddy, she said, and threw her arms round his legs and was hugging him. Oh, you're home, you're home. And his little 5-year-old boy came from another room. Daddy, you're back, and hugged him. And he saw his wife's beautiful face at the kitchen door. Oh, you're back early, dear. Shall I get the tea on? And he looked around himself and he thought, it's all here. The storyteller was right. This is my fortune. I'm the most fortunate man in this entire town. Got my own home, I've got a beautiful wife, I've got a good job, and I've got 2 fabulous children. What on earth am I going away every weekend and looking for my fortune for when it's right here? And you know the end of the story already, don't you? He never went looking for it again because he realised he already had it.
The grass is always green on the other side. Right. So Norman, we're
Especially if
going
you
to you.
water it. The grass is always green on the other side, especially if you water it.
Not in the UK, you don't have to water it. It just gets watered every day anyway this year.
Yes, watered on both sides, upside, downside, and downriver. So I've been wondering which story I was going to tell, and so this is the one that came to mind. But another little fragment came along. We're talking about languages, etc. There's an American couple from the state of Montana who are near the border, the Canadian border, and they're traveling around, seeing the sights, which makes me wonder because it's all flat out there. But anyways, they were enjoying it, and without knowing it, they'd crossed over the border into Canada. But so they got lost. They saw a chap working in a field nearby, and so they stopped and they went and asked him, do you know where we are? I mean, what this place is? And the fellow says, Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. And this fellow turned around, went back to his wife, and she asked him, did you find out where we are? No, the fellow doesn't speak English.
Excuse me, I've heard that before, but it always makes me laugh. And I didn't know I was
well, it's a bit of a dig at people, but the irony is both words are from the Cree language. Anyway,
Right, so while we're talking about stuff like this, do you know that just on the newscast today that Donald Trump was asked what he thought of the Statue of Liberty, and he said these words: "Well, if she fixed her hair a bit different and lost a couple of £100, she'd get 8 out of 10."
That sounds like something he would say.
he would say that, yes.
But he would also say he didn't know her, he'd never heard of her, and she's not his type.
Now that was Bill Clinton who said that.
Oh, yes.
Oh my God, that's
Oh dear.
exactly
Well,
what
let's go north of the border here. This little known area known as Canada. And this story is from Canada. Once a long time ago, there was three lasses, and actually I borrowed the locality from England, so let's make it international. And there was a sea captain who determined that he would make one last voyage. And in story world, we know all of what that means, the last voyage. And then I'll settle down, he said to his three beautiful daughters. Well, and I'll bring you back your fortune. But well, he went out, but just before he reached the harbor, a great storm came up and his ship was wrecked within sight of his home. So now that night, while the daughters were fearing for the life of their father, their father came to them, each one of them, in a dream. And he said, "This storm," he said, "will be the end of me, but you will find the fortune I promised you on the beach the next morning." And then he faded like good ghosts in a dream do. Well, next morning, the daughters ran down and to the cove, and they found on the shore I'm sorry, this is a new story for me. On the shore there were a casket, two caskets, and a man lying in there, half drowned but still alive. The two daughters went and found the man, and the third daughter went and the first daughter went to the casket, and it was full of gold. The second daughter went to the second casket and was full of silver. And the third daughter went to the man who was lying half drowned on the shore. And and she resuscitated him. And so the two, I'm really doing this very badly. Anyways, the third one found the young man half drowned, dragged him to the shore, and there they filled him with hot tea and water and food, and he revived. Well, the first two daughters had their fortune, gold and silver, but the third had the young man, obviously, her fortune. And so they set off traveling across the land. And it was harvest time. And so they went to work on a farm. And the farm, as usual, as they did at the end of the harvest, was the time to be paid. I know, because I've been on harvest, you get paid at the end of the harvest. But the farmer was a bit of an eccentric sort. He was, there's a long line of the workers, and he was at a table. And on the table, there was bags of gold and a pile of dust. And to each worker, he would give them a choice. For your pay, what will you take for your pay? Will you take the gold or dust? And of course, they weren't daft. They took the gold and went on their way. But to the farmer, to each one, he's asked the same question, until at last there was the young man and his bride and the woman who had saved his life earlier that year. And he said, "What will you take, gold or dust?" And the farmer, the young lad, looked at his wife, and she whispered in his ear, and he smiled, and he says, "I'll take the dust." And the farmer began to laugh. "You made the right choice. I've lost my son, and I thought I'd never have an heir." And he took the dust and he threw it into the wind, and the wind blew it all over and around. And so he said, "Now the dust that you have chosen is all over my land, my farm. And since you have chosen the dust, the farm is yours when I am gone." And so the young man and the young woman settled down, and they had found their own treasure, the treasure of knowing what is truly valuable. And each autumn, they found their gold, the gold of the golden grain that they harvested side by side each year. Yeah, and that's the end of it. I'm still working on it.
Ah,
And that's
a
the
lovely
story from Canada.
That's a lovely story. I like that story. It's a lovely story. Yeah. Right, so we're going to Baba.
Oh, that's me.
That's you. Yeah.
Well, I had three stories I wanted to tell, but I've settled on the one I'm going to tell. And the story I'm going to tell, of course, took place a long time ago. And this is the story about a king. Now, this king was reputed to have been the richest king in all of Vocabulon. Oh, you know it as Africa. He was so rich, his servants had servants. But this king, one day while traveling through his kingdom, came upon a smith who made jewelry and saw a ring that had to be the ring of rings. And he asked the jeweler, how much for this ring? And the jeweler told him. The king gasped, but he was the king, so nothing was beyond his ability to buy, and he purchased the ring. And herein lies the problem. That one ring cost him half of his treasury. And he put the ring upon his hand, and once adorned, he never took it off except just before he would go to sleep, for he wanted no one to slip the ring off his finger while he was asleep. And the ring was the ring of rings. In fact, you could say this ring ran rings around all other rings, but you could say that, but I won't. He had a fantastic ring. All the people in his kingdom talked about, whoa, did you see that ring? Everybody talked about this ring. It was the ring of rings. However, the Oba, the king, had a special place where he would hide the ring for when he slept or when he bathed, because he didn't trust anyone with the ring. One day, after taking his royal bath, he went to retrieve the ring. Oh, it was gone. And he ran to his advisor. He says, someone has stolen my ring. No, not the ring. Yes, someone has stolen my ring. No, not the, we just said that. The ring is gone. We must find the ring. And they searched high and they searched low. They searched east and they searched west. They went north and south, up and down. They could not find the ring, but they had to search for the ring without letting it be known that the ring was missing. Finally, he and his advisor sat down, and he didn't know what he was going to do. The ring was irreplaceable. It had already cost him half of his treasury. What was he going to do? And his advisor said, I have a plan, my liege. Let's circulate the story that someone has stolen something from you without saying what it was. And let's further state that the thief will be found the day after tomorrow. Well, how will we do this? I don't understand. He says, we're going to pass out 3-foot-tall staffs to everyone who lives in the kingdom. And then we're going to tell the tale that the thief's staff will grow another foot and be taller than all the rest. Sounds interesting. But let's make it 3 feet. By your leave, my liege, we will spread the rumor after we passed out all of the staffs. And so they passed out the staffs to everybody. Oh, I'm sorry, everybody. They passed out the staffs to everybody in the kingdom, child, woman, and man. And everyone had a 3-foot-tall staff. But the thief's staff would grow 3 more feet. The thief was appalled. He didn't know what to do. He had the staff, but it was going to grow and shame him. So he decided to cut a foot off of the staff. And that way, no, he cut another foot. Actually, I made an error. He was only supposed to cut a foot off the staff in the first place. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. But he cut the staff, making it shorter than all the other staffs in the kingdom. And on the day they assembled, the king said, I will be able to tell the thief by the size of his staff. And everyone held up their staff, exactly 3 feet tall. And the thief held up his staff, exactly 3 feet too short. And everyone knew who the thief was. And they all said, which you know they had to say in the story, thief, thief. And he was so shamed, he was so shocked that he surrendered the ring. However, because he was a thief and he was not trustworthy, no one would talk to him. They didn't even have to lock him up. They put him in the center of the village, the Kijiji, and everyone knew him for what he was. For without honor, he had no name, and without a name, no one would speak to him. And that was a shame of shames. And he stayed there until he repented and made efforts to make up for stealing the ring. And then quietly, he left the village. The moral of the story is quite clear. Well, actually, there are two. Don't spend half your fortune on a thing. But the other thing is, if you be a thief, you should also be wise, lest your thievery be discovered. Now, did the king keep the ring hidden? That's another tale to tell. Asante. Oops, I stepped on a pin, the pin bent, and that's the way that story went. I messed up a little bit.
Yeah, well done, Baba. That's lovely. That's it. I like that. Yes. Yes, I like that. Yes. Right. And so we'll go to Keith.
Me?
Yeah.
There are two.
No, Keith and Lincolnshire's done his already. So,
Ah, right. Sorry, I'm a bit. Okay. This is a modern story, a modern-ish story. Eric was now 6, and he was no longer a baby. No one called him Eki anymore. He was Eric. He had his own room, and now he was at school for a couple of years. He had a bookcase of books he could read. And he had his Lego and his scale X-Tricks and his toys, and it was his domain, his room. And he was a happy boy. School was a happy place. He was comfortable with his lessons. He had friends there. He would come home smiling, and there in the kitchen would be his dad or his mom cooking the dinner. The smell of dinner in a house is so inviting, isn't it? It makes it the real home. And he was the happiest boy that you can imagine, except on Thursdays. For on Thursdays, the pig man came. And Eric was frightened of the pig man. When it came to before tea time, but after the cooking had been done, the pig man would arrive. At that time, every Thursday, Eric would creep off to his room and sit on his bed and wonder, what does a pig man look like? I mean, has he got the body of a pig and the head of a man walking on all fours? Or has he got the body of a man and the head of a pig and the trotters of a pig, perhaps? How does he hold things? But he comes to their house every Thursday, and there's a bucket his mum gives him with all the potato peelings and all the carrot peelings and the things left over from cooking all go into that bucket, and they're given to the pig man, which is nice. This strange man has to beg for food. But what does he look like? And it preyed on his mind. It preyed on his mind. But every Thursday, he hid in his room and waited for the gate to shut so the pig man would be gone. Until this day when he made a mistake. He sat on his bed and he listened. He heard the gate swing open. He heard a knock on the kitchen door. He heard the muffled voices of his mother and the handing over of the bucket. And he heard the kitchen door shut. He thought, I can go down now, he's gone. And he went tripping down the stairs and into the kitchen. And he's smiling and he can smell that dinner on the hob. And his mother turns to him and says, "Oh, Eric, good, I'm glad you came in." She's got a paper bag full of potato peelings. I forgot to put these in the bucket. Can you take after the pig man? Chase after the pig man. He'd only just gone out the door. And as she was speaking, he heard the gate shut. He'd only just got out the gate. So just run after him. You'll see him in the lane and give him these potato peelings. Eric's heart sank. Run after the pig man. Run after the pig man. How could he do that? And he looked up at his mother and she was smiling and handed it over to him. Can it be dangerous? His mother's smiling. He went out the back door with his heart thumping through the gate, and he turned, and there was a figure receding with a bucket in his hand and a hunch and a hat. And he was still wondering what he would look like. Was that a pig face going to appear? Because clearly he was standing up on two legs. So it must be a man's body and a pig's head. And he went up and he took all his courage in his hands and he said, "Mr. Pigman, we forgot these." And the pig man turned round and he held his breath. And there before him, he saw the face of an old man holding a bucket. Not only an old man, but an old man smiling down at him. And an old man saying, "Oh, thank you, young man." Looking in the paper bag, he said, "Potato peelings." Chucked them in the bucket, handed the bag back and said, "But no orange peel. Them gives me pigs a bellyache." And it suddenly dawned on Eric. He was called the pig man because he had pigs. And the food in the bucket wasn't for him, it was for his pigs. And shouting goodbye, he ran back into his house, light-hearted, through the kitchen door and gave his mother a hug and said, "I thought the pig man was half man past pig. I was frightened of him." And his mother laughed even louder and gave him a hug and said, "There you are. That's what you do with fears. You tell someone." Thank you.
Right, so we've been going an hour, so I'm going to finish off with this little story and then we'll call it a day. So next Friday, it's Michael Kerins, who's going to be doing the story for the World Storytelling Cafe. And next Sunday, from 10 o'clock in the morning UK time through to 1 o'clock in the afternoon, Despina is not, reason she's not here tonight, she's probably packing to come to the UK. She's flying in the beginning of the week and she's going to be here all weekend with us. And she's going to sit in the fire station in Much Wenlock and do a high break concert online. So I hope you'll all come to it. All to do with stars and the stars in the sky. And Jan Dowling's going to be there and David Hilfey's going to be there. The Mayor of Much Wenlock is going to be there. I hope you're impressed that with the Mayor of Much Wenlock's going to be there.
I will endeavor to be there. I got the dates mixed up.
Yeah.
I was up at 5 o'clock this morning to tune in at 6 o'clock my time, because I think it starts at 11 o'clock your time.
11 o'clock, no, 10 o'clock
Right.
our time. Yeah.
10 o'clock your, that is 5 o'clock my time in the morning. So that means I have to be up at 4 o'clock. But I will do my best to be
Come
here.
a bit later. Come a bit later. We're hoping to get John's hoping to get people in from New Zealand and Australia and places like that. So hopefully it's all going to work very well. So there was a man, and he was lying in his little cottage in the west coast of Ireland, and he was upstairs, and he was listening to the breath coming in and out of his lungs, and he knew that it wouldn't be long before a great friend of mine called Baba told me this a few months ago. He was going to go from this place and be an ancestor. And he knew that he had a good life, and he had many children and grandchildren and all the rest of it. And he knew that his time was near. And he lay back on the bed and he thought all the way through his life, and he could smell his wife cooking downstairs. He could smell his wife making scones and cakes. And he knew that he could ask for many things before he died. But if there was one thing he wanted to do, it was to eat some of his wife's fresh baking, particularly her scones. So he gathered all his strength together, and he put on his white shirt, and with the last breaths he was ever going to take, he struggled off, and he went down the steps, and he was just about to pick up a scone, which was going to be about the last thing he was ever going to do. And his wife turned round and slapped his hand and said, "You leave them alone, they're for the funeral."
You are naughty. And I love it.
One of your craziest stories, Mike.
Johnny Campbell told me that, looking over out on the west coast with Packy Byrne. He just sat there. We were just having a beer on a little pub overlooking the bay, and he just sat and told. He just came out of the blue. We were chatting about all other things, and he just told me that. I thought it would, to finish off tonight, I thought that would do fine. We've got our festival this weekend. We've got the club tomorrow night. Keith, I don't think you're coming. It's lovely to see you all.
I'm an open mic in Treasil, I'm afraid, which is I'm very disappointed missing. Mike's clubs in Much Wenlock is brilliant. Spoken word night.
Thank you for saying.
Well, I'll see you on Tuesday, Mike.
Yeah.
I know, Norman, you've been to Much Wenlock, so Nona,
I want to be there next year.
Yeah,
I'm making plans to be in Much Wenlock next year.
Yeah.
I
Rona,
miss
are you coming
you
down?
guys. I'm hoping to come, Mike. I really miss seeing you guys. I used to enjoy having a drink with you at the bar. Yes, those were the days. But
Those were the
for quite a few years now.
those were the days. Yes, there's a song called that somewhere. Okay.
Mike, where are we meeting on Tuesday, by the way?
We're at the railway station in Bridgnorth.
What, on Tuesday? What time? No, you and I are meeting on Tuesday.
Yeah, what time suits you?
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock at the you know where the steam train station, the
in
railway
Bridgnorth?
station in Bridgnorth. Yeah.
Oh yeah, great, yeah.
Yeah, I'll meet you there. Okay.
So, at the bar on the platform, I presume.
Yeah.
You mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
Where's-
I'll be there at 6.
Save you coming all the way over here, and I can come that far. It's
Oh,
about
great.
meeting.
Thanks.
That's meeting in the middle a bit. So
Yeah, I'll bring all my stuff.
yeah, but absolutely. We'll sit and have a chat.
Great. I look forward to that.
Keith, it's lovely being in your company again. Kenza, I do
Yeah.
this every other week, every Sunday at 6 o'clock UK time, every other week all through the winter. You'd be very welcome to come. And if you can find us, and you've got to be computer savvy and all that, if you can come into the hybrid meeting on next Sunday, with a bit of luck, we can link you up with people that haven't got old grey beards, and that includes Rona. Okay.
When next we meet, I will have become a puppeteer.
Oh,
I will do my first puppeteering Friday of the week coming up.
Wow.
good luck with that.
All right. Yes.
A good skill as always. That's really good news. Well done. Okay. And next,
then. So, Mike, as I said, inshallah, I shall be in Much Wenlock next year.
well, that's no. You have to say God willing after that. But
God
God
willing.
willing. Then I said God willing twice, in English and in Arabic. Inshallah means God willing.
And I hope to see you all in I've had an invite. I'm really pleased because I've had an invite to go to Marrakesh this year. So
Bye-bye. Yay.
Yes,
All right.
I'll
Yeah.
see you
See
there
you in
then.
Me
Marrakesh,
too.
God
Me
willing, if
too.
the creek don't rise.
Have you got yours, Keith?
Right.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, thank you, Mike.
Yeah. Good. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and
that.
oddly enough, I got connected in some manner. I have yet to find out. Zuhair contacted the storytelling organization that I'm part of, and I'm going to have a meeting tomorrow with the artistic director because I'm curious as to what Zuhair wants to do with the Toronto School of Storytellers. And so, anyways, news all around.
We'll all be there. Brilliant.
Right.
Yeah.
So we've just got to get through our festival this year. Keith and I,
Yeah.
Keith is the chief MC, and we've got lots of stuff to do this week. So, and Ken says, right, I'm going to call it a day. Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Bye,
Take care,
everybody.
everyone.
Bye.
Stay
Bye.
Thank you for
blessed.
the stories.
I just want to say goodbye to Kenza in Italian.
Thank
Oh.
you.
Ci vediamo.
Sì, ci vediamo.
E che speriamo e vista su. Ok?
Well done.
Oh, wow.
Bravissima.
Okay. So,
What
cheers,
Rona
mate.
said.
Kenza, au revoir.
Au revoir.
Okay.
Thanks
Okay.
for hosting.
All right.
Bye-bye. Au revoir.
Bye. Au revoir.
To be continued.
There we go.
Take care, Rona.
You too, dear. I'll see you in Marrakesh in
See you in
January.
Marrakesh.
I've got my flights. I'm all booked up.
All right.
Take care. See you soon.
You too. See out.